Ciao, mi chiamo Francesca. Hi, my name is Francesca, and I am here to show you a few of my family's best stories. Most of my family is much older than I am. Most people don't know the stories anymore, so I'm here to record them and to put them on the internet for everyone to see, from my family and myself, and hopefully my children. I hope you enjoy.
I'm Francesca's father, Francesco D'Introno. The story starts in 1942. I was born in Libya, in a town called El Beida. Now I'm going to try to remember some of my stories, some sad or not so happy, and other ones happy or funny. There are many things that happen when you live, in your life, and some of the things you remember, some of the things you don't remember, but some of the things that you remember is just because you keep fresh in your mind, or you repeat them to the point where you can't forget them. I used to go and visit my grandfather on my mother's side. He was such a nice person, etc. He was really a gentle person. He was really a gentleman. I mean, gentle, very nice, very friendly, very loving, etc. He used to go around with a cane. Was old, was 80 some years old, etc. So I used to go and visit them. But once I went, and I was already probably like 14, 15, maybe even more, 16, 17. And I already had hair all over my body, and pretty much so. And so there was no space to live because they had visits. So they said, sleep with us, my grandfather and my mother. But, I slept in the middle, but on the other side of the bed. So my legs were between the two of them. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I slept quite a few times that way, because if I went and there were people, it was nice to sleep with my grandparents, and I slept that way. Well, anyway, since I had quite a few hair on my legs, in the middle of the night, he must have had a dream about a donkey or something, because all of a sudden, he started screaming, calling my grandmother, okay? Rina, there is a donkey in the bed. She said, what are you talking about? There's no donkey in the bed. Oh yes, touch it. So he grabbed her hand and put on my leg. And she said, no, this is Franco. What are you talking about? Oh my God, Frank, you have so many hair. You feel like a donkey. Story I remember very well. I had an uncle who was deaf mute, but actually he heard pretty well, and he spoke, but he didn't speak very well, and so he didn't hear much, especially sounds, etc. High-pitched voice, etc. So once I was spending some time at my uncle's house. Actually, there was my grandfather on my mother's side and my uncle were living together, and I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I was doing something in the bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet, and while I'm sitting on the toilet, I noticed the door opens with little, barely any light, but against the door that had a little bit of light from the other room I noticed there was somebody walking towards me. So I realized that it was my uncle. So I screamed, "Stop, stop, stop!" But he didn't hear me. And he peed on me. Until, of course, I kicked him and realized what was going on. But he was a very nice guy. During the summer, one of my uncles decided to rent a house on the beach. And it was an old house, and the floor was made with stones, white stones, I remember that. And all the cousins, we were like 20 of us, all the cousins, aunts, etc. Everybody went and spent 2 or 3 weeks there. So it was like a crazy, continuous fiesta all the time. We ate outside, it was wonderful, etc. Now, just a few blocks down, another family related to us also rented a house. And since most of the girls were with us, but they had mostly boys, they would come in the middle of the night and do silly stuff. For example, they would throw little stones, they would make noise. There was one of them played the trumpet, so in the middle of the night, and what did we do? We got buckets of water and threw at them, etc. But one night, and of course, no air conditioner or anything, so the windows were all open, and we, the young kids, the cousins, all the cousins, like 20 of us, slept on the first floor. And we slept directly with a blanket or something like that, directly on the pavement, on the floor, because it was the coolest area. In fact, it was very nice and cool. So we were there sleeping, so the boys from the other house, like 4 or 5 of them, got hold of like 20 Pepsi, 20 Coke, whatever that was, came to the windows, shook them, and opened them and sprayed all over us. And of course, imagine the screaming, the yelling, the throwing water, and this and that. Then uncles and aunts, everybody got involved. So it was for 2 or 3 hours until the morning, and it ended with a battle of watermelon. We had like 4 or 5 of them. We sliced it, we took pieces and threw at each other, and washed our faces with it, etc. And then it was like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, so we all decided to go to the beach and jump into the water. So imagine how fun it was then. You don't do those things anymore. I mean, you do it if you have a bunch of kids, But it was a combination of adults and kids, that adults also get involved in this kind of games, We were there was some holiday going on, and we were in Corato, and everybody was staying at my parents' apartment, our apartment, which had 2 bedrooms, but one bathroom, and the boys on one side, the men and boys on one side, women and girls on the other side, the other room, etc. And they used to buy these breads, big breads like that. They still sell them in Italy, and so they put them, like 2 of them, they put on a table that was there. And then somebody went to pick it up, and the next day it was said, "What's wrong with this bread? It's all wet, etc. You know, smells bad." etc. So everybody was trying to figure out what happened. Well, so one of the older men said, "You know what? I saw Pietro, which was the deaf mute guy, my uncle, getting up in the middle of the night and peeing, but not in the bathroom. I think he peed in the corner there." Well, what happened is that he was obviously dreaming, okay, sleepwalking, and he thought that the bread was a pea pot. So he grabbed the bread and peed on it. That's the story about the wet bread of Corato. Okay.